today's recording, we are going to continue looking at the novelties that were delivered with the 2208 release of SAP S/4HANA Cloud. Still on the topic of transportation management, in a previous recording, we looked at the ability to do a charge calculation on freight orders on the basis of the distance traveled, on the planned distance traveled by your freight orders. And in today's recording, we are going to be looking at the ability to perform a charge calculation on the basis of the net duration, the net time of your freight orders. So once again, to fast track this whole demonstration process, we have already created a sales order, and as usual, there is nothing very special about it apart from the fact that we have indicated a shipping condition that tells the system that a freight unit needs to be created, and once the sales order has gone through the freight unit building rule, we will plan that freight unit with TM, Basic Transportation Management, within SAP S/4HANA Cloud. So this is our sales order. We can quickly look at the TM status, and this will then provide us some information regarding the fact that there is a linkage to transportation management. And if we look at the document flow, we can see that a freight unit has already been created for our sales order. So without further ado, let's go into the transportation cockpit. We have already indicated the freight unit that we wanted to plan. And once in the planning cockpit, we will simply select our freight unit. We will select an appropriate resource, and we will say assign the selected items, and that should then create a freight order, which we have here. As usual, we'll save to have a definitive freight order assigned to it, and let's go into the freight order. And once in the freight order, let's go to the General Data tab. We'll edit, we'll indicate a carrier for which we have maintained an appropriate freight agreement. We'll indicate the purchasing organization so that the system is now able to deduce a appropriate freight agreement. Now we can see that the net duration time of this freight order is 1 hour and 15 minutes. Let's go to the Charges tab. And we can see here that the system has determined a charge type that we have called here freight flat rate of $60. We can also see that the chargeable quantity is indicated as being 115, which is the net duration of our freight order. So now that we have been able to deduce a freight rate in our freight order, let's look at the master data, in other words, the freight agreement, and see how the system came to determine this particular charge of $60. We can see that we have the agreement that we can jump to directly from the freight order, but I also have hit already open in this particular tab. Nothing extraordinary here from the freight agreement management point of view. We have a calculation sheet. We have in this calculation sheet inserted one freight rate, which is the one that is going to rate our freight orders on the basis of the duration. So let's go into the display of that rate table. And here what we can see is that this is the calculation base that we are using. So net duration, which is the novelty that has been introduced in the 2208 release. I've also indicated here the calculation type to be absolute as opposed to relative as we had it in the distance calculation. Now I could have also used the relative if I wanted to, for example, charge based on a per minute as an example, or per hour duration of my freight order. But in this case, what I've done is I've indicated absolute, and I've also put in here a scale, meaning that the way the system is going to work is that it is going to determine a charge to apply to my freight order if the duration of my freight order is between X minutes and Y minutes, irrespective of whether we are at X plus 2 or X plus 3. So we've indicated the calculation base, the calculation type. If we go and look at the dates and values, we'll see a bit more details in how we are going to rate. And what we've indicated here is we've essentially indicated that if the order is less than 30 minutes, then we would charge a flat rate of $20. And if it's less than 1 hour and 30 minutes, we would charge a flat rate of $60, which is exactly what our freight order was rated to be, $60 flat rate, because the duration was less than 1 hour and 30 minutes, but it was still above the previous scale that we had of up to 30 minutes. So there we go, new functionality in 2208, how to rate freight orders based on net freight order time.